Hello, this is another choreo update. So, Allister and I met on February 17th, which is a Monday after our first choreo session, which was Saturday, and the showcase is coming up on Thursday, the 20th, so we have about 2 or 3 days left. We're planning on meeting again on Wednesday to finish up the choreography. So yeah, I just wanted to debrief about the second choreo session, which was Monday's choreo session, and what progress we made, as well as what inspired the decisions that we did make in order to get the choreography that we have now. So, as mentioned earlier in the previous video, it was really hard to get the ball rolling on Saturday. It was really hard to first come up with moves and first come up with ideas, but we got the ball rolling by the end of practice, and I think that momentum continued throughout Monday's choreo session. So even though we scheduled 2 hours, we were way more productive in that 1 hour than we did with the 2 hours on Saturday, and a lot of progress was made. So on Saturday we had about 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds done, basically the first 24 counts of the drop. Then on Monday, this session I'm debriefing about now, we managed to finish up the drop, so the next 24 to 36 counts, I think that's right, 24 to 32 counts, 24 to 32 counts, we finished up the drop, and then we also started working on the beginning section, so the beginning, or not the first 8 counts, but the 16 counts before the drop, so we started working on that, and we made good progress with that as well. So what had happened was we finished the first 32 counts, about a little less, 24 counts on Saturday, and we knew where we ended at that point, which is the vroom noise I mentioned earlier. So that was a circle of fans on the outside, a circle of flags on the inside, and we knew the vroom would condense the circle, so we wanted to make sure that we had the circle expand after that. So the first 8 counts after the vroom, we have the fans move outwards to give more room for flags to do their moves, because flag is a very long prop, so you're going to need a space in order to get to do proper flag moves. So we had that space set up for them by having the flags come out on the first 8 counts, and at the end of the 8 counts is a whoosh noise, and we want to make sure that we can utilize this whoosh with both props. So what we do is that we have the fans move outwards with the first 7 beats, and then we have everyone come inwards with come upwards and inwards with the whoosh. So if the fans, as you see in the video, the fans go out, and then on the whoosh they go down and in, while the flags are just going up. So now we're all up at the same time. For us, the way I go about, at least personally for me, the way I go about choreoing is I want to know where my end goal is and how to get to the end goal. So me and Allister just decided that we wanted to have the end of the drop end in a 3x3, where the first line is 3 fans, second line is 3 flags, and the last line is 3 fans. And the first line would sit on the ground, second line would kneel, and then the third one would be standing. So we knew we wanted to end with that, so we started actually backwards. So we looked at the 8 counts before the end. We looked at, what kind of layering can we do with those 8 counts, because it's da 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 da, and then it ends just like the previous 24 counts. So okay, we want to have this end in a 3x3. How can we utilize those 8 beats to get to that? So we're we want to incorporate layering. So we have the fans go in the first da 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 da, flags on the second da da da, and we all do the same circle movement on the last one. That's because we want to make sure that even though we are doing this multi-prop piece, we still highlight the 2 different props. So the first da 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 is highlighting the fans, second one is highlighting the flags, and then we're highlighting them together. And while we're doing this, it helps us move into that 3x3 formation that we wanted. So we decided the best formation to have before the 3x3 would be a diagonal, so not just a wide 3x3, but a diagonal, so that not only will you condense it to get the 3x3, you're also rotating it about 45 degrees to get this perfect square. So we want to make sure that the formation chains we have are dynamic and not necessarily expected. If you have this larger 3x3, you obviously expect the move is going to be condensing. But if you have 3 diagonals, you don't expect it to condense and also rotate into a square. So you want to make sure that we kept the choreo fresh and dynamic with these kind of things. So now we figured out the last 8 beats, and we know where we ended before so we have the drop total is about 68, or I don't even know math anymore, 40 beats. So we knew the 24 beats and then 24 is basically broken up to 24 and 24. So we know the first 24 beats from Saturday's practice. We know when we want the last 8 beats to be. So we have 16 beats to figure out. As mentioned earlier, we had the first 8 beats be the opening of the circle and then the whoosh inside. So we had, it's actually 32 beats. So we had a total of 64 beats. First 64 was done on Saturday. Second 64 is Mondays. We knew the last 8 would get us to 3x3. We knew the first 8 would get us to open the circle. So now we have 16 beats in the middle to figure out what we want to do. So we knew that the formation right before the end of 3x3 was going to be the diagonals. So we just needed to figure out how can we get from that open circle into diagonals. So what we settled on was actually doing not only another formation, but not only switching into that diagonal formation, but also doing a formation change in between while incorporating moves into it. So it's kind of hard to visualize with just me and Allister, but essentially what we're doing is that we're having the fans after the circle, they're going to do a move into a diagonal pointing towards the right. Then you're going to do a line swap to have the diagonal pointing to the left, and the diagonal pointing to the left would then go into the 3x3. So you want to make sure that we're trying to have as much movement and formation thing to make it very interesting for the audience to see. But while we're doing these movements, we want to make sure we have meaningful moves. So you can see both Allister's moves and my moves that these are not just like filler moves. That each of these fan and flag moves are purposeful. So that's essentially the explanation of the second half of the drop that we completed. We also got to start working on the beginning, 32 to I don't even know how many beats. But we wanted more interaction between the props. So far we've had the fans and flags doing their own things while also having a formation interaction. But we haven't actually had any moves where the two props are interacting with each other. It's kind of hard to get that kind of interaction because it's two different props who can do two different things. So we actually started brainstorming, okay, what can we do that will actually have them incorporate? And I had jokingly what if I went over your flag with my fan and stuff, and it ended up looking pretty good. So you can see in the video that we actually have now added this kind of smoothness where the props are interacting seamlessly with each other, which will help propel this entire choreo forward. So not only now do we have highlighting of different props, highlighting of formations, and now we have interaction between the props. And we want to make sure we have all of these because we want to make sure the choreography is not your typical one. There's all these different factors. One of the hardest things about choreoing a multi-prop piece is you want to make sure it's not just it's a medley. It's gonna be one prop and then another prop, and it's not you want to make sure it's as cohesive and integrated as possible. So we're trying our best to do that, and I think having this interaction between the two will definitely help. It's obviously a lot harder to have interaction with two because there's 3 flags, 6 fans, but we're going to have the two fan flag, and then fan, and then the one flag in the middle is going to do his own little, or his or her own little solo. So we're having these interactions while still highlighting the uniqueness of the props, and this is a very different multi-prop piece than what I've typically seen. So I've seen multi-prop things for different types of events, and I've even tried, I said, making multi-prop in the past, but this is the first time I've had so much interaction and so many formations, and having it try to be a more cohesive and well-integrated piece instead of imagine instead of just a salad where each single vegetable is still kind of their own, it's more like a soup where you're mixing together these different flavors to get this more cohesive piece. And that's something that I never thought that I could do well, but I think with this choreography, it's starting to shape up to be a lot better than I expected. I think it has to do a lot with working with Allister as my co-choreographer and him having his own unique ideas and then mine, and then figuring out a way to blend them and merge them together. So I think it's been a great learning experience personally, and I think also it lets me think about the props in a way different than what I traditionally did. When I've used blue wavy fans for performance once before, but that was a traditional piece with traditional music. So I have never imagined using these blue wavy fans in a modern aspect, to EDM or Western music. So I'm starting to think about new ways, while respecting the cultural origins of the prop by trying to keep the moves as you're not using your fan just as a stick. You're using your fan as a fan. So you're respecting the dynamic of it, the actual physical traits of it, and respecting its roots of it, in that aspect, while also figuring out unique, new, fresh ways of incorporating it into this Western song and more modern choreography. So I think it's just been a really great experience. So at this point, even if the choreo doesn't get chosen, I'm very happy with how much I've learned from it, how far it's gotten so far. And yeah, I don't know. I feel I just really like this choreography. I know it's really hard to visualize because it's just 2 people, right? There's supposed to be 6 fans and 3 flags, and there's so many of these formation and layering things. It's really hard to visualize it with just 2 people. But in my head, I'm very proud of what we've made so far. So looking forward to our last choreo session, which is on Wednesday, and the showcase will be on Thursday. Woo, that's gonna be super nerve-wracking, I guess. But like I said, I'm still very proud of the progress I was made and the choreo as it is now. So even if it doesn't get chosen, I'm very happy with that. And even if it doesn't get chosen, I think this like channel documented at least the process of it making well and like the decisions that went into it. And even if I don't get to like teach it, I can show some other like stuff on this channel. And honestly, I just had fun making this so far. So yep, I guess this is a really long update, but this is the second update of the choreography, and the next time will be the last update, and then I'll give a post showcase update as well. Yeah.